apparently I lost consciousness. And when I came to myself, there was personnel from the paramedics, and they said, "Well, you were out for almost 13 minutes." And
Marcel, how did you find Carnivore?
how did I find Carnivore? Well, that's a long story, I guess. I'm 54 now, and when I was much younger, I had issues with my health. I was obese, still healthy in my opinion. I was doing a lot of running, a lot of lifting. And at some point, it was like it was. There was no knowledge about food, not real knowledge, except for the traditional stuff like you have to move and you have to do this and to do that. But I never reached the goals that I wanted. And over time, I got more interested in my job. I joined the army. I joined the army for a couple of years. I was sent abroad to war areas, and there was no time to pay any attention to anything like food or other stuff. But I was on a healthy way. That means a lot of vegetables, fruits, my carbs, my regular stuff, and I was doing okay. And at some point, I thought, well, there should be more than this when it comes to info about health. And social media was growing. You could see other people's opinions and experiences. And I was watching and listening to that a lot. And so I learned, first of all, that everybody is different and everybody has a different life. So it's a matter of finding out what fits you. And in that way, I spent a lot of time reading and education. So at some point, I did some traditional learning about food, and I did some more deeper going trainings about food. So at some point, I was well educated, but still the baseline was a lot of vegetables, your healthy fruits, bit of carbs, fats, only if you have to, but I wasn't satisfied with that. At some point, I did an extra training again, and in the meantime, I joined the police force where I work now for over 25 years already. And in that way, health was very close connected to my work. And I still was not satisfied, although I was not fat in any way, I was not obese anymore. I was feeling better, but not energetic, not really there where I wanted to be. I trained 3 times a week. I did boxing, I did judo, everything, and I was fit, but there was missing something. And I did another training at some institute for about a year, and they learned everything about your cells and how carbs work and how plants can influence your health. And I was like, this is a much different approach. And I was like, is this real? Is this really happening? And the guy that was teaching us challenged us just to start intermittent fasting, to go into the cold, to leave carbs and plants out of your diet for a long time. And that's where I started. And that's about, I think, 15 years ago already. And I didn't know that was going to be a trend, the ketogenic movement, if I can call it that way. It's only like a couple of years now, I think, that really people started to understand the health benefits. So at the time I learned about it, I was not even ready to comprehend everything. I was just following orders to see what's happening. But I was getting results. The fasting, I could. That's something I could get used to it, like the intermittent fasting. Um, People put a label on it these days. You can go 8 hours, you can go 16 hours. I didn't do that anymore. I just adapted to my needs, and that means that at some point I got used to it not eating for a while. And in my case, I'm very disciplined. I'm a disciplined person, not on every area, but in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to my health. So even the not eating was going to be a problem for me because I was taking it way too far. I was in a deficiency. And it took me a while to figure that out. But because of my daily job now, within the police force, there's a special department created 8 years ago where we help out people in need, colleagues in need with any health problem. and we're not doctors, but we are very well educated, and we assist doctors and other mental coaches with clients who have severe traumas or have other issues, mental health or physical health. And when I have a client, my first 2 years, I think, it helped me to see a part of myself that I didn't discover yet. I had knowledge, but I didn't learn really to put it, how do I say it in English, to put it in my personal needs. So from that moment, I started to change things, and the ketogenic for me kicked in about 4 years, 5 years, and then I really went low carb, below 30 grams a day, but still a lot of vegetables, still one or two pieces fruit, but very low in carbs. And I was losing weight and I was doing well, but still at some point again, I didn't reach the goals I wanted. You know, I got at some point at 50, I got some kind of I don't know, extra motivated boost. My abs were showing again. I was feeling healthy, but some fat reserves you want, from aesthetical point of view, you wanted to see go. I couldn't understand why that was not happening. But at some point, I let that go, and then in 2019, I guess, no, 18, sorry, I was at boxing class, and apparently I lost consciousness. And when I came to myself, there was personnel from the paramedics, and they said, well, you were out for almost 13 minutes, and you were in a tonic, do you say, you know, when your muscles contract from an epileptic insult. It seems that that was the case at that moment. I didn't know. But that was my first passing out, and I could not connect why. I was not smoking. I was not doing drugs. I do not drink alcohol. I do not have a bad habit in life. And I thought it was just an incident, but it happened multiple times until the time that even they had to almost help me. Do you say that? Give me a. I do not. Let me think about the American word.
Oh, was that to
Yeah,
shock you?
yeah, because I almost had a cardiac arrest. So, and it was also again because of the epileptic insult. And then it turned out, if I shorten the story in, after a couple of research, a special institute, that I had a brain tumor. And I was like, ah, a brain tumor. That's really well, strange. That's of course maybe a strange name to say it like that, but I didn't look at myself as sick. So I had to hear it a lot of times from other people. Listen, you have to take care because this is a serious thing. And that process took me, I think, a year before I finally uh, realized I had to slow down, because I didn't stop doing anything. I got my medication and I felt fine, but I wasn't fine. And then at some point, I was reading on the internet, I was following people on the internet, like most people are who are interested in certain subjects, also the low carb, etc. And then I heard about carnivore. And yeah, also the deeper form of intermittent fasting triggered me. There were some cases back then that I read about, experimental carnivore style, ketogenic style, because of the health benefit for cancer cells. Yeah, so what I did basically was, okay, well, I'm already living very, very healthy. I'm taking out the vegetables, I'm taking out the fruits, only meat, butter, eggs, fish, everything that people advise. I have nothing to lose. And I did that, well, until now, but like almost 2 years. And then I went to one of the top hospitals back in Holland, who were monitoring my situation with MRI scans. And it turned out that my tumor was gone without radiation, without therapy, without surgery because that was too risky. They said back then, and it was wonderful, of course, but it was like I couldn't understand that that happened to me, that I got it and that I lost it, and that's something. Yeah, that convinced myself actually that the lifestyle I was leading was the main contribution, I guess, to my health situation. There's in your body nowhere some data you can look up and say, hey, well, if you do this, yes, this is what happened on that day, this is what happened on that day. It's the most logical thing for me uh, to believe that I'm cured about because I changed my lifestyle to carnivore. And well, that until today, I still have sometimes conflicts when I'm sitting with clients who have we have also colleagues, of course, like everyone outside police force with health issues. If you look at some health issues, also related to bad habits, like any person on the planet, and sometimes it's very hard not to tell people about the carnivore system because um, it's not something people talk about or like to talk about because it's so out of the belief system, and also because where I was trained to get this position within the force, they do not teach you about carnivore or ketogenic beliefs or health, only the traditional, and of course, I can understand that why, but only the traditional way of eating, like the whole foods, not too much sugar, take care of yourself with sports, with exercise, the walking, breathing techniques, but none go that deep. And sometimes I just wish, I wanted to tell them there's more than this. And um, sometimes that's a personal conflict for me. So that's basically how I got to the whole ketogenic carnivore system. And then today, I still do that. Every day when I wake up, I take a 2 minute cold shower for a few years now. I try to keep my stress system down. I try to exercise, and I still eat well. Primarily the meat and the fats, and I do the intermittent fasting. And for me, it turned my personal life in a positive way. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm maybe also for the viewers. I'm with every respect to all the people on the earth. I'm not a religious person. I'm a science-based person, and I can only talk from my perspective. And for me, yeah, it's a very good way. And the hardest thing of all, I think, it was the traditional belief. When you are born, you are fed the traditional foods, the belief system that you need to eat your vegetables, you need to eat your fruit, etc., etc. That was the most challenging part to mentally shift to what I'm doing is a good thing. I was doing it because I was sick, but there was a lot of doubt, and now I'm doubt free, and that's something that you need to teach yourself. I guess it's personal experience. So
Yeah.
now yeah, that's about what I witnessed.
Wow. So how long ago was it when you had that moment where you found out from the scan the tumor was gone? How long ago was that?
Let me see. That was in 2023, recently. Yeah,
Wow. So that's about a year.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's in January. It's I think 1.5 years. So I'm
Okay.
I'm very happy.
Yeah.
So it was
Um,
late 22, I think. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah. That's fantastic. And so you've just kept up this way of eating, um, and you're doing the intermittent fasting as well, which I like as well, you know. But how long are the fasts? Are you just it's just whenever you feel like you're hungry, you eat, or do you have like 2 days fast or something like that?
Well, I did a 5 days fast at once. 5 days was for me the limit. It was a long time. So it was just a challenge for myself. I read about it. How long can people do that for a long time? And I just tried it. After day 5, I was like, man, I want some food now. So I just broke it. But I do actually listen to my body. The meals I eat are pretty big. I'm not that heavy. I'm 83 kilograms. I do not have much fat on my body. So if I want to have the life that I live, I need the energy also. And if I eat a full plate of food until I'm full. If that leaves me like 20% of my plate, that's okay. I put it back in the fridge and I eat it later. And that's the second thing that I also turned around with thinking. I used to measure everything in calories. Yeah, and calorie is just basically a measurement for energy, nothing else. So what you need or I need or anyone needs or any living organism is it changes, is different. What muscles do you have? What activities do you have, etc. So I just basically eat until I'm comfortable, like they advise. Your colleagues on YouTube, like Sean Baker, Mr. How do you forget his name?
I like
Um,
Anthony Chafee or
yeah. They tell you basically also eat till you're full, and then watch when your body wants some food again. And for me, that really works because I thought at first I would underfeed myself. I would not get enough nutrition, etc. But we make in our household bone broth, and recently we had some good friends in nearby who's a grass-fed farmer, and once twice a year he brings one of his oxes to the butcher and we can buy his meat. And we had also this year fat and we made it into tallow, the you can melt it down. And for me personally, that was not a pleasant experience. I do not like the taste of it, but we like to eat a lot from the whole animal. And a couple of weeks ago, I had the blood test because I was really, 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 how do you say it, curious. There was still a little doubt, I guess, who wanted to see, hey, if am I okay? And I got my blood test results back, and they were phenomenal. But the LDL, of course, like everyone, sky high. My triglycerides were almost below the point that they want you to have it. And then my doctor called, and he said, "Yeah, we saw your results, and we want to talk about it." I said, "You want to talk about my LDL?" Yeah. It's almost 300% higher. So yeah, that's correct. Yes, would you like to come into the office and talk about it? I said, no, I know why it's higher, but I'm looking at the rest, and the triglycerides are just fine, and my B12 and everything is okay, and I feel good. So I'm not coming in. Yeah, no, I'm not going to discuss it with you. He said, it's your own prerogative, of course. So um, I left it there, and well, now we are talking.
yeah. I mean, it's nice that you've got a doctor that just left it and didn't try and push. That's nice.
It is, yeah. Yeah, now I have to be honest. I'm a very open guy, but I do not like to be pushed.
Maybe he could sense that, so he thought I better.
No, it's just fine because I think he does his job well. I look at it in an open way. He does it in the way he is being taught. to talk with people and to advise people, and I respect that also. And he respect my personal choices also. So there's no arguing in between, luckily, because I do listen to your stories sometimes, other people's stories, and also see it in comments that a lot of people are getting into trouble with their doctor in a relationship that's completely disturbed. So I don't know if it's because I'm in the Netherlands or if it's in other countries more than here. I don't know, but in my personal opinion, it was just fine.
Mm, nice. So is anyone doing this with you, like family or friends?
Well, my girlfriend, she tried it, and she likes it also. It's not 100% like I do, but like 95%, and she does well with it. So she trusted the health benefits, like I started to trust the health benefit, and she sees the results that I'm carrying, and yeah, she's doing well. So I think that's the start. A lot of other people, I respect them a lot, and also in my friends, circle of friends and family, I see some things that I would really like to interfere and help them with stuff, and I sometimes give them a little bit of advice, or maybe just like pushing a little bit. Yeah, but I respect them if they say, well, no, not now. No, I'm feeling okay. That's a relationship you want to keep. So even if I think, well, I could help you, um, I have to let it go.
Yeah, and they won't be if you keep pushing, they're not going to be interested anyway. Like as you mentioned, we don't like to be pushed into
Yeah,
anything, right? So,
yeah,
yeah.
that's correct.
Um,
That's correct.
so in the Netherlands, is beef expensive?
Um, I guess, yeah, yeah. I think beef is getting expensive everywhere in the world. I'm not sure about that, of course, but I think if you see videos on the internet about changes wanted to change, but also the prices they are connected to the life change you want to pull through. Then I see the beef prices are rising everywhere. In Holland, especially the chicken is more expensive at the beef at this moment. But I think I don't know what the dollar is in a euro, but if I want to buy a kilogram of rinse meat, for example, just pure rind, I would pay around 8 to 9 euros. So that's for me, it's acceptable, especially because I do not need anything else. People say, well, it's expensive. Yeah, but I do not eat chips, cookies, bread. I don't drink sodas. I only drink some coffee a day, and I drink mineral water. That's it, and I'm doing that
Yeah.
for years now. So it's how you look at it. I think it's relatively expensive, but also not more expensive than regular difficult word than the groceries you would normally buy.
Yeah. Yeah, I always find that interesting, like people will say, "Oh, yeah, meat's so expensive that I can't do a diet like that that's so expensive." And it's like, "Yeah, but I'll eat this once and I won't be back in the fridge in 2 hours."
Yes, that's true. That's
Mm.
true. And like if you want to make a good bone broth, it's very cheap. You go to the butcher, he has leftover meat, he has some marrow, he has everything, and you can buy it very cheap. And you can boil like 2 or 3 liters of bone broth and freeze it in cubes if you want to. And you can do it when you're a little bit of how do you say that, creative. You can make yourself a good dinner, I think. And where I live, we're in an area with a lot of chicken farmers, so we have eggs, fresh eggs everywhere. And so every day I ate a couple of eggs, and I can pick them up by going on my bicycle or walking there, or I pick them up with car. They're all close, and we have fresh stuff, and that's a good thing. We are lucky to have that.
So, do you ever get people at work kind of saying, how come Marcel only ever eats steak? How come he never eats sandwiches?"
Yeah, yeah. Well, sometimes, well, they ask, and I think that goes for most people. You should basically do what makes you feel best. And in my case, I had a hard lesson to learn, and it worked out for me. So there's also partial part of belief, you know. If I stay this way, my health will be better. Not knowing the results in 10 years. I mean, we do not know when something would happen to you. And that's for me easier to hang on to that because it's not a hard thing for me to do. And if I would talk about it on my job, I had a couple of talks about it, and they say, yeah, well, I eat my vegetables and I eat my cracker, and they're healthy people. Let's put it that way, and they eat healthy, but it depends on how you look at it. So when I talk about it, they respect it, and they even do their best when we go out to dinner somewhere, or once or twice a year we come together. We are a very close group of 4 people only, and we work together very closely. So sometimes, because we have all have a different part of the region that I work, it's divided in 4 pieces. So we all work in our own area, and the time that we see each other is not much. And when they plan something like coming week, they said, "Well, we found something you can eat meat there, and you can order this." And then added, it's really, really, really good. So they take it into consideration that I'm a meat eater.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
really
that
good.
is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, based on your experience, it's been quite a few years now that you've been eating this way.
Yeah.
Um, if someone came to you and said, "Okay, Marcel, I wanna lose some weight or I want to get healthier. I'm willing to give carnivore a try. How do you recommend I get started?" What would you tell them?
That's a good question, Dave. Basically, I would first have a good talk about how they live their life now in this moment, because you can see something, want something, but it doesn't mean that the timing is right to start. Is your sleep, is it okay? Are you much stress at this moment? Every part of that uh, um, cycle of your life can also determine the outcome of your new plans and goals. Once they have it like in balance, and I would start to advise little steps. Just try to see what you really do not want to give up and what you are preparing to give up. If that means that someone would say to me, okay, well, I like my carbs a lot and I want to keep it in every meal, then I would be honest and tell them that that could interfere in the results. So I would start like maybe one meal a day with a few carbs and just the rest meat, fat. Of course, I would tell them about how it works before you get fat adapted. Also, maybe the keto flu or the carnivore flu. I had it myself for over a week. Prepare them in that way mentally and give them a try without any goals yet. And then come back after 1 or 2 weeks and talk about, hey, how did it go? What did you run into? And if they make progression, I could go to the next step, like, okay, now we try to cut out all the carbs and we make together a meal plan. Start light, eat your steak, eat your rinsed meat, cook some eggs, bake some eggs, take some butter. Let's see how much you eat and how you feel. So just small steps. But I think the most important thing is that you have someone to reflect on you. If you can talk someone about what you're doing, maybe a little bit monitoring, that will help carry a person because you never can look inside someone to see what they're struggling with. Only by talking with them, you get to know the reason why they want to change their life. So small steps, I think that goes for a lot of things in life.
Yeah, I think those baby steps making it easier. It's kind of this gradual transition over to where the new person realizes that, oh, I don't really have to eat all that junk.
Yeah,
I can just eat this and I can feel no hunger for the rest of the day.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great feeling, and
Mm.
I wish I could give them a bit of that feeling, put it inside so they can feel it. But that's not the case, so you cannot do that. Also, when you go into the average grocery store, that was last week. I can see my own struggle. Also, I can see what people put in their basket, and I can also see, oh, how, basically, you want to say as a healthcare person, you say, please don't do that. Make a little bit of different choice. Please. You can have your Coke, but I would put that out and put this in. So that's my struggle, of course. But yeah, that's also my goal to help as much people as I can. And even if it's you do not have to be strict carnivore or strict anything. As long as you are not, I should not maybe say it, but I'll say it anyway. You should not be fully vegan. If you want to be vegan, it's okay. But my advice to all those people, I've seen it over and over again. There's not such great percentage of people who thrive on vegan. So, no, people are pulled in by social media, by every commercials, everything on television into this food system where they disguise every bit of processed food in colors and packages and this is healthy and you should eat it because well he ate it and she eats it and everyone eats it and they are doing fine. No, no. Eat what you are designed for to eat. If that's occasionally also plant-based food, well, eat it. If you do not have any problems with it, then you don't. Just make sure you follow steps that uh, helps you getting back into a good health by default design of your body. And that's yeah, you've seen a number of numerous of interviews. One I can't recall the name, but there was a guy who told he had how do you say it, the colitis ulcerosa, the problem with the gut, inflammatory gut, and he had they took away a part of intestines. He had a stoma now, and he was after he had surgery. He told the interview that he was feeling so much better on a carnivore diet, and that his body almost everything used as fuel, and there was almost no waste in his stoma anymore, and his health went so much better. And when I hear that, and I think, oh man, I wish you would have discovered it earlier. And wishing you more health than this situation. You're so young, and you have these issues. So there's a lot to learn from it. And personally, when I look back on some things, do I miss junk food? No, I didn't. I never eat much junk food anyway. If I go to the McDonald's sometimes, I go there to eat the burgers. I leave out the bread, I leave out the sauce, I leave everything out, and I order three burgers or something like that. In only if I really need it. And
Yeah.
for me, that's a treat.
Yeah, and doing something like that is a good when you're stuck in the middle of nowhere or you're going to be late home from work or something like that and you need to eat McDonald's burgers or something like that is a good kind of stopgap, right?
Yeah, why not? Why not? And also keep in mind, and maybe that's a little bit I want to tell people also, be gentle for yourself, be kind to yourself. In my case, my discipline, like I said earlier in the interview, can also tackle me. and say, no, you're not allowed to do anything anymore. So it would basically mean that I'm not in control. And I want to be in control, but that can also be a bad thing. So for me, if I want to really eat something, there's nothing holding me back from doing it, but I do not feel the urge to do so. I like to be in fat adapted state because it means I can eat my steak, I can eat my rinse meat, and I can eat my eggs, and I can be full, and I can do a lot of things in a day that it costs me energy, but gives me back energy because the way I eat. And I have no deficiency. So why would I interfere with that by eating something sweet or eating, I don't know, Mars bar or drinking, I don't energy drink? That's not even in my mind. I didn't eat a snack for over 2 years now.
Yeah, and it's amazing that you can just kind of something that you can be so addicted to, you can finally cut it, right? And
Yeah,
just feel nothing. There's no emotion anymore, right?
correct. That's, I think, the biggest gift you can give yourself. Um, Life brings you a lot of challenges. I mean, it's not to be like a wise old man, but I had my share of experiences in life in different situations. So, um, not having to worry about what you do by eating, etc., and feeling good, it gives you more attention and energy for other stuff. It's not a burden like it was in my youth. I was bullied a lot when I was a young kid, 12, 10, 12 years. Uh, there was a lot of situations that were linked to health in the younger years. And looking back now, as an older person, yeah, you see that no, maybe a little bit regret that I couldn't change what I wanted to change and what I changed now. So all those people out there who are not happy with themselves, please seek help because especially young people also today, their minds is filled with influence about how you should look, what you should do, what you not should do, and it's heartbreaking sometimes to see the issue that come for the problems that come out of those opinions. So I wish people a better life by changing small things, and that's why you need help.
So, Marcel, do you have any social media or way of getting in contact with you?
I have social media. I had from the ketogenic time, I started the social media on Instagram called PaleoFit, and I didn't do anything about it last couple of years because I basically do not have much time. So lately, I was thinking about doing that, and there's still the time issues. I still have to update, explain, translate, and somehow it fits to the way I want to influence people in a good way. But on the other hand, you have to be a certain person also to keep up that social media. I'm not there yet.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I'll link to it below, and yeah, I look, Marcel, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Dave, for having me. It was for me also a good experience. Also a little bit, how do you say it, anxious before we started, and you said also you should tell your story. I listened. I go, oh, what am I going to tell? But there's a lot to tell, and it happened in a good way. And I'm very glad